Coat Arms Ink Armour Wash. Is it better than Nuln Oil, and should you be using it? Hello, and welcome to the Battling Barrow, and my name's Kev. Recently I have pretty much stopped using Games Workshop paints, mainly due to the pots, but also due to the colours. There was a video about it that I'll put a card onto here, and what I've started using is sort of either retro paints in the old hex pot stuff, or modern retro alternatives such as Coat Arms paints. Coat Arms have also kindly given viewers of this channel a 10% discount off of orders for a short while, so make sure you, if you're interested in the paints, use that to get 10% off. The promo code is BattlingBarrel1, and I'll put a link to that in the description. I've made a video on these paints and why I stopped using them. I still use GW contrast paints, and I still like their washes though. And whilst I say I like their washes, I still preferred their old hex pot washes. I still have a pot of Orc Flesh Wash, which I still use, still like, and I'm running out of it. There's just something about it, from the way you shake it up to when you open it. It sort of has, I know you're probably not going to see this, it has bubbles. Yeah, you can see that. It's bubbly, and when you smell it, it sort of smells of... It has a distinct smell, should I say. I probably shouldn't smell it. It's probably some sort of mega chemical in it, but there is some sort of distinct smell. It smells sort of almost like the medium that it's made with is washing up liquid. Whilst browsing the Coat Arms site, I noticed they do washes, and that got me thinking, if their paints are pretty much old school paints, what about their washes? So I ordered some. The first of which is the Ink Armour Wash. When it comes to putting it on a black wash on things such as Armour, GW's Nuln Oil is pretty much the standard go-to. So is this one better to use? Last year during lockdown I got the Warhammer 5th edition box set with a view to paint it whilst I couldn't do much else. So how many nights did I end up painting? 3. Just 3. So I have a lot still to paint, so I will take 2 and paint them in silver and wash one in Nuln Oil and one in Armour Wash and see which one I prefer. Hopefully this will help in getting them painted. It'll be a start at least. So what I've done is painted up 2 knights on the set in good old mithril silver, and what I shall do now is give one a wash in Nuln Oil and one a wash in the Armour Wash, and just see which one I prefer, see which one I prefer using, see which I prefer the finish of, and hopefully not get any cat fur over them. Which is easier said than done. So first up is the Nuln Oil. Just give it a shake and open it up. Now, see that? Sort of caught that on camera, but always one of the reasons why I'm moving away from these paints is because of those epoxy lids. We're just going to apply it, and hopefully, I'll just go around here. Obviously the camera is reflecting off that mithril silver. It's nice and bright silver. Let it soak up into the shape brush. I'll apply it on. Get any pull in, and just pull away. And I have no real complaints about it. It just goes on nice. Certainly better than their inks, which I have to admit when I first started using this style here, I didn't realise I was meant to sort of water them down and whatnot, and medium them down, or whatever you want to. So I just used to apply them straight, and it used to come, I don't know, I think it used to flow right for me. You know, it's just literally just, I'm applying an ink wash. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go over it all. But these washes, when they come out of these, I actually was pleasantly surprised with these, and I liked them when they come out, like them now. Just the bottle, the nightmare, especially when you've got a cat wandering around where you're trying to paint. These bottles just won't stand up to a cat wandering around your painting. And I know people say you can buy doodad from a bottle holder. I think GW sell one themselves, don't they now? That's not what it's about. Surely. That's just them selling you extra stuff to make up for their faulty product. They go around being too careful about getting it on the white, because I can always go over that when I come to do the tabards, which won't be on this video, and so forth. Their cloth. All I'm doing here is trying to make sure I don't get any pooling anywhere. And so you can see here, got a bit of pooling there, a bit of pooling there. I just want it to go into the recesses and grooves. Once it's drying, I'm going to just manipulate it around a bit, pulling off bits that I think are just too much. Easy to do this at this stage, then later on. Okay, that'll do. I'll put that to one side. You look at the camera and see lots of pooling, but yeah, I'm going to put that to one side. And next up is the ink Armour wash from Coat d'Arms. First thing we're going to have to do is open it up and give it a sniff, because as I mentioned, these old washes had a distinct sort of smell to them and a feel. They were bubbly, almost like there was just dishwasher detergent in it as the medium. So let's take this and open it up. Yep, and that has got the same smell. Wow. Let's see how it goes on. And I don't know if you can see that. Difficult to do. Let's see if I can get a bit of light in. Still not good enough. I'm not even going to hear it on the camera, but it is there is bubbling in there, like there is some sort of detergent in there. So, how does it feel to go on? It's thicker than Nuln Oil. I don't know if you can see. It's a really difficult video to show black ink. Why don't I choose black? I don't know if you can sort of hopefully see the difference here. This is a thinner wash than what this is here. This feels thicker, which reminds me of these. These were always fairly thick. That makes sense. So yeah, you can see it. I don't know, hopefully you can see it. Already that's gone on thick and dark, so this will need a lot more, probably a lot less on the brush to begin with. I'll need to manipulate it a bit more. But it goes on. I prefer how this goes on. Where I put it is where it stays. Whereas, much I love the Games Workshop, current Games Workshop washes, they tend to go typically where I don't want them to go. They find their own way. Whereas this stuff, where it is thicker, it sort of stays where I put it, which is nice. It behaves itself. But where it is thicker, you need to move it around a bit more before it dries to avoid pooling. So take poison. Pick your poison and what you prefer. I don't know if this is just nostalgia speaking, but I prefer this as my wash. It just feels right to me. How I remember washes acting. It's just because I'm used to them being like that. I remember them being like that. And then I'm going to do is spear, so I'll do that off camera. definitely a thicker wash. There's no scientific thing behind this video about materials now, it's just what you prefer, isn't it? And that's what painting is all about. Picking the tools and the paints that you prefer as you're the one painting. So you might try these and might not like it. And you might go back to the GW ones, that's fine, if that's what you want to do. Me, I'm so loving this. This is bringing back such good memories. All I had left is this precious Orc flesh wash that I still use, but ever so fleetingly sparingly. So I might have to look at Coat of Arms' website and see if they still do this. So yeah, that's so it probably needs a bit more moving around and pooling than the other one. But it also does, as well as going in recesses, it does affect the colour of the armour, which is something I actually want when I do armour. I want it to be, is why I always tend to paint in mithril, because I know it's going to get dulled down to the colour I like. I can already see, I mean, as with any wash, you're going to have to do layers and go over bits anyway, but I mean, it's not just about applying a wash and leaving it. But yeah, I'm going to leave those to dry and we'll come back and have a look. So let's take a look at the results. So the Nuln Oil, it's gone into all the recesses. Bit of pool in there. That actually looks worse on camera than in real life. Yeah, it hasn't, you know, the chest plate, it's a bit like contrast paint, it hasn't gone over chest plate too much. It doesn't brought out much detail on chest plate other than the central line. It's gone in the visor a little bit. Holes there. You know, it's Nuln Oil. If you've used it, it's done its job. This would be perfectly satisfactory. I'm not going to pick holes with it for the sake of picking holes with it. It's done its job. I'd be perfectly satisfied with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's have a look at the Armour ink wash and let's see if it is as good for armour as its name suggests. The visor, I managed to pick one with no holes in, unlike this one, so slap and rest. But the actual visor of the helmet, holes in the visor on the helmet, is much more inky. Again, ironically, on camera it doesn't look much different. In real life it looks totally different. It looks like this one's hardly got any in, this one does. But also the chest plate I much prefer on this. It's really sort of every dent and ding on that chest plate this armour wash has found. Likewise, just his feet here is much more pronounced detail on the joints of the bits, separate areas of the armour. Crenellations of the feet are much more pronounced than this. I think you can hopefully see that here. If you look at his knee, this one definitely looks darker. I mean, let's face it, there's not a lot in it, so if you're happy with Nuln Oil, but if you want a little bit of extra oomph, I'm definitely recommending Ink Armour Wash, and I shall definitely be looking at the others. I think the next one I'll probably look at is a flesh one and one for my beloved Orc flesh wash as well. We may look at a brown, so I may do a follow-up video about these inks. Yeah, as I said, so just to quickly summarise, am I saying this is the best thing since sliced bread? No. If you've got Nuln Oil and you're perfectly happy with it, carry on using it. It's okay, it does its job. Nuln Oil, still good, lives up to its reputation. But if you want something just a little bit better, or a little bit cheaper, Armour ink wash is the way to go. I mean, side by side, you're not really going to notice much difference. No one's going to look at this and say, "Ooh, you've used ink Armour wash instead of Nuln Oil." No, but I just generally prefer the application. What goes on differently to this? It's a bit more thicker, almost a bit more like a contrast paint, I guess, in the viscosity. But yeah, well, that's 2 more nights almost painted. I guess I should get on now and finish painting all the other bits of them. Yeah, so I think that's about it for this one. I generally like the washes. This is more for me than anything, just to see if they remind me of the old washes I used to use at GWs to make, and they do. So I shall be ordering a few more of these. Hopefully I can get some in and order in before the promo code runs out. But if you can, go and get some. Give them a test. If you've been curious about coat arms, give them a try. I'm actually generally really happy using coat arms, and there's other manufacturers as well that I'm using as well, but I'm generally happy moving away from Sistel paints at the moment, just because those darn pots annoyed me so much. I don't have any of that. These pots feel more stable when they're open, even with a cat running across your paint tray. But I'm going to leave it there. That's enough waffle for me for this one. So until the next video, stay safe, take care, bye bye.